And welcome to the subscriber report. For those who are new to the channel, who haven't been on for the last month or so, this is something I try to do regularly where I explain where the channel is going. It's this channel, by the way. If you see the word subscribers, some people have been confused about, oh, does it mean subscribers to World of Warcraft? No. Subscribers to this channel. What I'm doing with the channel, what I've just been doing, where I'm hoping to go with it, and to ask for feedback from you guys. If you're not a regular viewer of this channel, then it's not really for you. So sorry if you've come across it, but I try not to make sure this goes out other than to subscribers. So what I want to talk about today is four main areas. One of which is the future of live streaming, which is a really important thing at the moment. Nailing down the schedule, future of specifically Warhammer content, and requests for feedback. So first of all, in terms of live streaming, so when did I start live streaming regularly? It was during Legion, and it really came as a result of requests. So people said, oh, could you stream? To begin with, I tried doing it every now and then. The main problem was that certain things that I'd be talking about or listening to more specifically on voice comms would not be suitable for streaming for one reason or another. And then eventually someone said, oh, you should try, virtual audio cable. So I eventually got that. And then I was able to stream my gameplay, and filtering out what other people were saying. So I started to do a bit of that. But I'm not someone who's naturally ever going to build a live game stream, because it's great while there's discussions going on. If people are chatting, it's absolutely fantastic, because then I'm playing a game and I'm chatting with people and that's all fine. But that's generally is not what happens. And so what I started to do as we were getting towards the end of Legion, I thought to myself, well, it's not really working. It's not something that had been an aim of mine anyway. It was really just responding to requests. And so I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to actively promote them. So I didn't start linking on Twitter and stuff like that. I thought, if people follow me, they're going to get notifications anyway. Because I know people I follow on Twitch, if they start live streaming, I get a notification. Doesn't matter what I'm doing in game, I get a notification saying they're streaming. So I thought, well, people who follow me on Twitch will get that anyway. So it's not like I'll be randomly streaming and no one will even know about it. And I was doing it on a regular basis as well. It was a regular schedule. It wasn't just every now and then. But I'm not going to actively promote it. Not that I've done a good job on that anyway. So, and then what has happened was, there's very few people following out. Thank you for those who have, by the way, because some people have even given me subs, mostly by the Twitch Prime and some others their own money. So thanks for that. But where I am at the moment is there's not been as many videos as I'd planned this week, and the same was going to happen next week. Like, I'm in a situation where today I've got half a dozen videos on my list of things to do. Not all of which are going to take a long time, but some of them will. And I was just thinking, well, streaming tonight as well. So I decided at the start of the weekend, I was like, I don't have time for this. The reason why I'm not mythic raiding is just because of time. I already knew before summer that I was going to have a much tougher time at work this year because of new course I'll be delivering, completely new as well, not just a new program, completely new course for me, and that would take a certain amount of time. But even since then, even since I've started back since summer, there's been a lot of other things. Like, for example, I'm going to be helping out. I don't have to do this, but I feel I should. I'm going to be helping out with an after college event as well. That's something I want to get involved in. And also with various other things, I am basically doing a lot more teaching than would normally be required because we're covering staff absences and stuff like that. But basically, all hell is breaking loose. And obviously, my job is the most important thing in my life. It's the thing I have to prioritise. So everything else falls down the wayside. And that has put a squeeze on both ends for anything that I say I'm going to do on a regular basis. It causes a problem. And the streaming is the thing that I do on a regular. It's the thing that I say, oh, I'm going to do it at the moment, Sunday and Wednesday. And there's sometimes I get to those days and I think I need to get other things done. This is actually a squeeze. And there's not that many people watching, and there's hardly any situations where people are even talking. And I'm just thinking, it has to fall by the wayside. It has to. I don't have time for all of this, especially getting back to Warhammer as well. That's, but that, as I always said, one of the good things about Warhammer is if I'm really busy at a particular time, well, I just don't do any for a bit. and then come back into it. It's not something I have to commit to, which is exactly the case here. So I'm stopping the live streaming. The only thing I'm going to use Twitch for, it's not that I'm going to not use Twitch for anything. In fact, there's something coming up which I expect to use Twitch for, which is actually BlizzCon. So at BlizzCon the last couple of years, I've tended to live stream my thoughts on what they're saying on the WoW panels. Now, the first introductory thing you get is free. Everyone can watch that, so that's no problem. After that, it's virtual ticket only, or actual ticket if you're physically there. At that point, obviously, I can't stream it through. Now, as people who would have noticed, the Azeroth review last week, when I was doing a similar thing, because Ian Hazacostas basically sniped my stream, so I thought, well, we'll listen to what he says and discuss that as well, and then the stream went down. I don't know whether it was just a coincidence. It may have just been because, for some reason, it knew I was piping in something from a Twitch stream. Now, I suppose, if that wasn't happening, it might be fine to stream the BlizzCon live from my, because I'd only be discussing it, not playing through what they're saying, because that would be naughty. And I could do that and it would all work fine on YouTube. The problem is that it equally may not work fine on YouTube. And because it was such a mess on that Azeroth review, it's sort of a case of once bitten, twice shy. And what I may do, I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to have to decide in the next week or two. What I may do is I may stream that still through Twitch and not through YouTube. But I haven't fully decided. But, you know, so in terms of streaming, obviously the Azeroth review will continue, because I like that. That's a discussion. That's the sort of thing I like to stream. Just streaming gameplay, I've never really got it. And so, obviously, I'm never going to make anything of it. Whereas streaming discussions is something I enjoy doing. And so that's where I would see it. And I would see Twitch as potentially being useful if I want to stream something on a one-off event. Maybe I'll stream some of the classic WoW with some of my thoughts on it as well. So I'm not saying that won't happen. It just won't regularly happen. It will be one-off special events where I may live stream stuff on Twitch where it's not suitable to stream it on YouTube. And such as I say, some classic gameplay that comes with the virtual ticket that I'll be able to do when BlizzCon comes out as well. So that's the sort of thing I see for it, but it's not going to be there regularly anymore. So thanks for the support for all those. I've done that, but yeah, it's just too much time. And it's, of all the things I spend my time on, the least efficient way to spend time, if you see what I mean. I would like to try and disable the sub button, but it doesn't seem straightforward to do that. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but so it's still there, but just don't click it, because I'm not going to do very much on it. So secondly, schedule things. Now, of course, if you're running a channel, you really should have a schedule. And if you're doing as I am, although I'm not doing a video every day, it sort of averages out like that. But sometimes it's like multiple videos in one day, and sometimes it's not a video another day. And what I really ought to do, if I'm going to be producing, say, 7 videos a week for YouTube anyway, plus there's 2 other videos I produce for elsewhere, but that's irrelevant. That's neither here nor there. But 7 videos specifically for this channel, then it might as well be one a day as well as possible, and preferably at the same time. So trying to get them done in advance, and this is where I'm hoping by not streaming I'll have the time to do that, because straight away, I mean, on the face of it, it's 6 hours extra free time to be able to do that, which will help a lot. 6 hours is a lot, but it's more than that, because when I know I'm going to be streaming, it sort of stops me doing little things. You know, let's say, because I stream from 7 o'clock, so if I'm sitting down to do something at 6:30, it's like, well, I can't sit down to do anything that'll take a significant amount of time because I'll be streaming in half an hour. So it sort of kills off more than 6 hours effectively in the week. So it should give me a big, over the next week, and so for the week after, it should hopefully be more apparent. It should give me a big chunk of extra time. So I was thinking about the schedule, and I was also thinking about the fact that I am now sort of... the channel is now split across 3 games, effectively. World of Warcraft is still the bulk of it. But we have a few happy little joiners now. So as well as World of Warcraft, we've got Lord of the Rings Online and Warhammer, particularly Age of Sigmar, which is what I'm split it into. Now, of you would just think, well, do you know what? I'm producing at least one video for each of those games a week. Why don't I just do separate channels for each one? But I don't know what maybe unexpected problems there are with having 3 separate channels. Certainly cycling through them and potentially uploading the wrong video to the wrong channel is one occupational hazard of doing that. But trying to cycle through, because when you're trying to, it's already limited time to read through the comments anyway. And if you've got too many channels, then it just becomes a case of, oh dear, trying to cycle through multiple channels. But it may have been better, because the problem is that some people may come to the Warhammer content, but then not like the fact that quite a lot of the time it seems to be World of Warcraft content. There's no point in doing this. I might have, and same thing with the World of Warcraft. It's like, oh, there's a Warhammer video, not interested in that. I still don't know. But for the moment, it's as it is, because I don't know, and because I see lots of hassle and downsides to trying to do different channels, that I'd like to keep it in one, but at least try and change it where it's going to be in the week. So what I was thinking is, this is what I'll try and move towards, but it may take me a week or so to be able to do this, because there's so many things. You won't believe all the demands of my time at the moment. But Monday, a WoW video, generally going to be a WoW discussion video, potentially could be a guide every now and then. Tuesday, of course, the Azeroth review. And if there was more things to discuss, which there are at the moment, potentially another discussion video then to go out before the Azeroth review goes live. Wednesday would be a Warhammer video. Thursday would be another Warhammer video along slightly different lines. Friday, the Exploring Middle-earth series, so the Lord of the Rings video. Saturday would be another WoW video, but where there is something I want to talk about with Ret Paladins. Of course, Saturday is the day for Ret Paladin stuff, but that's not going to be every week. And then Sunday, the mailbox. And try and get into that. So the way I would see it is, for World of Warcraft content, that would run effectively from Saturday through Tuesday. And then you've got a couple of days of Warhammer stuff, and then Friday, Lord of the Rings stuff. So it's also not chopping and changing through the week as well. There's certain times of the week where it's World of Warcraft stuff, certain times Warhammer, certain times Lord of the Rings. And maybe that'll work as well. So you have to let me know what you think about that idea. But of course, what I need to get into the situation, I think I can do this, is to a point where I can have videos done enough in advance that it's all scheduled to come out at the same time on those days, and I'm not playing catch up anymore, and those ideas I have, these lists of videos that I'm wanting to make, don't get abandoned, because that's ultimately what's happening at the moment, just because of lack of time, that they actually happen and they actually go through. Which brings me then to the Warhammer content. Now, for those who are interested in that, I know what I'd like to do, and I know what I could do well, because, getting back into it, what I used to do when I played Warhammer seriously before World of Warcraft took me away, kidnapped me, I did do battle reports. I had a website and I did battle reports, and they were very popular. I think they were popular because no one else really did battle reports, They existed in the White Dwarf magazine, which is Games Workshop's magazine, but even then, not every month was a Warhammer battle report. Sometimes it was a 40k, and sometimes it'd be Lord of the Rings or whatever. So you didn't get that many, whereas I did them every couple of weeks, or at least every month. It depends how often I could get games to be able to report on. But they were just basic website ones where I produced diagrams, as used to be the case in White Dwarf. Now, if you look at it, a battle report is filmed, and there's one particular channel, miniwargame.com, which from a technical point of view does a really good job of them. However, when I look at all these, and there's plenty of channels doing them, and I look at these battle reports, I look at them first of all and I say, look, first of all, they waste a lot of time at the start explaining stuff that isn't even clear. Obviously, they're introducing the game, the roster, the battle plan being used, and the deployment, but they take a long time to do it, and you don't even get all the information. So that could be done more quickly and better, I think. And in terms of the battle report itself, one thing that has been frustrating me is the poor quality play sometimes. That sometimes like one of the players will be so bad that it's just like there's no point even watching this. Such a mismatch, because they do stupid things. Like, oh, here's my super expensive character, but he's a bit vulnerable. I really don't want him to die. I know, I'm going to stand him in front of a load of cannons, which is the latest one, or not one of the latest ones this week. And I just looked at that, I thought, I can't even watch this. So, so that's where I think I could really do a good job with them. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to, because ultimately what you need for something like that, you've got several things to go through. First of all, there's the technical issues. You need to be able to have a battle table set up with decent lighting and enough cameras there to be able to record everything without disrupting the flow of the game. Now, what I notice about a lot of these other places where they do the battle reports is, I mean, I've seen a couple, because these channels, when they've done enough, inevitably produce a video on how they do them. And I watch them, and in every single case, it's quite clear that even though it's not evident on the finished product, which, as I say, is usually quite good, they are disrupting the play. You know, there'll be someone with a camcorder saying, okay, can you move them now? And they get the camera in place. That's disrupting the flow of the game. And that's not, from my point of view, a battle report should be just what it is. It's a report on a game. You shouldn't be inconveniencing either of the players in doing it, because that could disrupt their line of thinking. It doesn't make for such a good game. So I'd want to do it where the cameras are just going to do their stuff and nothing's going to get in the way, and you just play the game and then edit it later on afterwards, which is something that doesn't seem to happen on those. Now, I think I can solve those technical problems, but it would be significant, because apart from anything else, I've got some stuff already, even though it may go to waste for a good long time. I've got some folding tables, which together will make a large enough area. The only place in the house, I think, where I can realistically set them up so there's enough room around it as well is in the kitchen, and that means moving the kitchen table, which is okay. But what I mean is, it's going to be super temporary. It's not even the sort of thing I can leave up for a few days like that. Otherwise I can't get to my kitchen. Or at least I can't get to the oven or something like that, because the kitchen table will be in the way of it. Probably can't even open the fridge. So I could set it up for a guest to come round and play a game, but it would have to be sort of set up almost on the day or maybe the night before, and it couldn't stay up for any length of time. So there's nowhere in the house to do it. So it's tricky. There's no point in doing it at a gaming club, because there'll be noise from everything else. You won't be able to record very well. Plus, of course, all the lighting and cameras that you would need, you can set them up unobtrusively in my home. I can't really do that quickly at a gaming club. So that's the technical side of it. But the technical side of it, I think I can solve. It will take a certain amount of trial and error, but I think I could get there within a few months. The thing that's going to be the real killer is the source material. The bottom line is, there aren't the players to do it. I mean, I've gone to the I finished my 2,000 point army about a week ago now, so I've been down to the club. It might have been 2 weeks ago now, I can't remember. But I haven't had a game yet. I think I'm going to be getting one on Monday, but I've seen a couple of people play. But there's a small number of people who are sort of tentatively interested in Age of Sigmar, but all I've seen so far is 1,000 point games, and of people who are just getting into it and therefore aren't fully up on the rules and stuff like that. So, you know, high quality games are not going to be there, and the 2,000 point games, which is the what you really want, are not going to be there either. So, quite frankly, even if all the people who are interested in Age of Sigmar were also interested in taking part in these battle reports, which is a huge if, because they may not be, there's just not enough of them, and they're not like me, who quickly paints up an arm. Well, for two reasons. One, they may not be able to afford just to get the models, as many models as I can a month. And the second thing is they don't paint them, because they paint them to a higher standard than I do. So they don't just paint them for tournament play. They're not that quick at that. Whereas I could belt out a 2,000 point army in 2 months, you know, quite easily. That's not going to happen there. So it's unfortunate. The best I'm probably going to be able to do is to take photos and try and do something from that, but I wouldn't bill it as actual battle reports. So that's disappointing, but unfortunately that's the situation. Now, I don't believe that in my town there aren't players of Age of Sigmar who would be suitable. The problem is finding these people, because Games Workshop, in fact, one of my Warhammer videos for next week is going to be about this, are not very good at like really promoting their stuff. They're quite baffling, really. You know, they should be actively trying to seek out networks of people who are interested in playing to connect those players together. Because the more, you know, it stands to reason. If there were more, if people were able to find games to play more frequently, they would play them more frequently, and that means they would buy models more frequently as well. Whereas to a certain extent, I'm looking at the situation now and thinking, well, I got my 2,000 points ready. I'm not going to be able to use them for ages. I can use 1,000 points worth of them on Monday, maybe. I really don't see me being able to play a 2,000 point game anytime soon at all. So the idea that I'd have enough games on a regular basis to be able to do battle reports. So it's still an aim long term. It's just I don't know how I'm going to do it. I mean, you can't even if you just found people who are interested, you know, you'd have to get to know each other to the point where someone is willing to go around to your house and you're willing to have them there. You agree that you're each not the axe murderer. You know, so that's tricky, but that doesn't. So it's likely to focus on the videos are likely to focus on strategy and discussion, is where I think it's going to go, because that's what I like as well, the strategy side of it. So that's where I'm hoping to go with the channel. So the feedback part time now. So those who've watched it a bit will sort of already know this, those who don't. So what I basically do is, you now know what I'm intending to do over the next few weeks. You know what I've been doing over the last few weeks, I hope. So it's now time for comments, feedback, things like that. If you can put down below, that would be absolutely fantastic. Now, bear this in mind. Sometimes people will suggest something and I will say, no, that's not feasible. Either because I don't agree it would be an improvement or because it's not realistic. A very common one is with the Azeroth review, them saying, oh, can you put timestamps on? No, I can't, for two reasons. One, it would take a ridiculously long time to do that. Two, discussions merge into one another and sometimes come back as well. It's not, because it's not driven by me. I'm not a ringmaster for this circus. People say, I respond to comments. It's the viewers who are deciding what we're going to talk about at any one time. And if someone comes in at the start and wants to talk about, you know, Azerite gear, and we talk about that for a bit, and then someone else wants to talk about Uldir, and we start talking about that, and someone comes in an hour in and wants to talk about Azerite gear in a way that means we can add to the discussion, it's something slightly different, then we'll go back to that. You know, it's all, you know, and you can be having two discussions at once sometimes on two different topics at once. So it's not at all feasible. But sometimes people say things and I think to myself, no, that's either not feasible just because not enough time to do it, even though it'd be too small a benefit for too much time needed, or I just straight up don't think it would be an improvement. And then later on I change my mind and put it in anyway. And sometimes people come up with something that I think is a brilliant idea and I do it. So keep the comments coming and don't be discouraged if I don't do it. Just keep them coming anyway. At some point I might decide it's a good idea. At some point I might not. It doesn't matter. Just keep coming with ideas. Come up with enough ideas. One of them is bound to be good. To my estimation at any rate. So I do rely upon feedback because I don't always know what I'm doing. I just make this up. I mean, you know, I've talked before about trying to do things on a set schedule. I've improved myself, but, you know, it's so difficult sometimes. But, you know, this is why now that I'm doing it on 3 different things, which is hugely inadvisable. I mean, this is why sometimes I keep thinking, should I change? The longer you leave it, the more difficult it is to change to a different channel. But there's just so many, I can't tell you how many downsides there are to trying to maintain multiple channels. And there may be some downsides that I'm not even aware of. To the, you know, maybe there's a limit. I don't know. Is there even a limit? Do YouTube get snippy with you if you're doing too many? I don't know. Maybe not. But what I do know is that at the moment, I'm going to be doing all 3 in the same channel. But you'll have to let me know what you think about that as well. Because if anyone's got anything, not just if you've got an opinion, you just want to put it down, they're great. But if you've got some logic behind the opinion, that's even better, because I might think about that. There might be something I haven't considered too. Because I am in a huge quandary, I've got to admit. I'm doing something that is usually inadvisable. That being said, I know that there are gaming channels that do stuff on multiple different games that are successful as well. So I also know that although it's not advised, it's not fatal either. It's not a stupid thing to do. So I really don't know about that. That's my biggest issue at the moment. But then also let me, keep an eye, as I say, over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully you'll start to see a more regular schedule forming, and then we can maybe in the following another month's time, come back to it and see how it's gone. So thanks very much for watching this anyway. As I say, do comment down below, please, if you've got any comments at all, good or bad. I'm not made of glass. I can take criticism. And until next time, I'll see you later.